The Pokemon X and Y news just keeps rolling in as we inch closer to their release. So you know what that means, it's time to crank up the old analysis machine to see what secrets the latest trailer and screenshots might be hiding. And to do so, we've again enlisted the help of our resident Pokemon master, Derek Bittner. Now please keep in mind that there wasn't exactly a ton to analyze, so this video will also serve as a summary of all the recent information. But before we start, please make sure to check out our previous analysis videos if you haven't already, as we'll be referencing them throughout the video. And with that, let's get started. Now, even though Nintendo did release a brand new trailer to show off the new Pokemon, it doesn't actually reveal that much that's new. But it does introduce us to a brand new Pokemon professor, Professor Sycamore. And like in past games, it continues the tradition of having the professors named after trees. But that's the only thing traditional about him. You see, as we've learned before, you actually receive the Pokédex this time from one of your friends in Vanderbilt Town, Trevor, instead of from the professor as in past games. So why the change? Well, according to Pokemon.com, it turns out the Professor Sycamore is actually based out of Lumio City, which lends further credence that this massive city will act as a major hub of the Kalos region. Now typically, the professor's lab, which is where you get your starter Pokemon, is part of your hometown. So since Professor Sycamore's lab is quite some ways away, how'd you get your starter Pokemon this time? Well, if it's anything like the 4th generation of games, it's possible he first drops by your hometown before telling you to meet back up with him at his lab. Except for one problem. As we can see here, you actually meet him for the first time at his lab. So how in the heck do you get your Pokemon then? Does someone else give them to you this time, like with a Pokédex? Or maybe he lost his Pokemon and you're simply trying to return them, which actually is a little similar to the 4th generation. Also, we already know you'll be regrouping with your hometown friends throughout the game, and it appears this will be just such a meeting place. But why? Alright, now the professor's location isn't the only thing unique about him. For the very first time, the professor will actually occasionally challenge you to a battle, which is something the developers toyed with doing in the original Red and Blue before nixing the idea. Now what form these battles will take is unknown, but it does call back to the idea the developers mentioned of having many smaller rivals rather than just one main one. So maybe Professor Sycamore could actually be a kind of rival for you too, or perhaps he's just putting your skills to the test or something. Although we don't know much about his personality, we do get a sense that's a little different from previous professors. For example, his laboratory looks like it might be bigger than any other professor before him, since it's on at least the 2nd floor as evidenced by the elevator behind the player. And we know this is an elevator and not just a door thanks to the 2 buttons right next to it. Oh, and the fact that it comes up through a hole in the floor. Now, it is possible that his laboratory is just part of some larger building, but considering that what we've seen so far doesn't especially look like a laboratory, we're going to guess that the lab proper might actually be on the bottom floor. So maybe the part that we see here might be more of an office, with some equipment on the right side. But even more noteworthy are the pictures surrounding his desk. While we can't make all of them out, we can see that there's a crudely drawn picture of Aldino, as well as some more detailed looks of Snivy and Tepeg. Now historically, each Pokemon professor is focused on some scientific aspect of the Pokemon themselves, such as breeding patterns or habitats. So maybe Sycamore's focus is on their aesthetics, and by extension, genetics, which would tie into our storyline theories from our first analysis. Along with our new professor, we are also introduced to our new evil team, Team Flare. Based on the screenshot, it appears that one of their goals is to make lots of money, and they accomplish this by selling fossils. Or maybe that is a Pokemon they're able to bring back to life from those fossils. This could be the part of the game where players choose which fossil Pokemon they obtain, which is a tradition that's been around since the 1st generation. More interesting is whether the fossils and the restoration will be tied into the possible genetics theme of X and Y. At any rate, whether making money is Team Flare's main goal or not, we can't say, but it would be rather shallow compared to past opposing teams if it is. That goal also fails to line up with the theme of the 2 legendaries we know about so far, Xerneas and Yveltal, which, if we go by their species, will be about life and destruction respectively, which again may tie into the whole genetics thing. So maybe the profit this team is seeking is designed to fund their true operation. At any rate, their overall look is reminiscent of a Mafia, or maybe even a Men in Black type of covert operations group, except that they like the color red, like a lot. Of course, their name is an obvious reference to flares, which always burn brightly. This, along with their flame symbol and use of Houndour in the trailer, makes it seem like they'll prefer to use fire-type Pokemon in battle. Finally, we have our 2 new gym leaders, Grant and Clement. Clement is described as a boy who loves science and machines, as evidenced by his robot arms, and always has his sister, Bonnie, by his side. Now, there's no information on what type of gym his could be, though interestingly, his badge symbol appears behind him in one of the screenshots. Well, at least we're pretty sure that's his badge design, as there's little else it could be. Now, it's difficult to tell off the design alone, but our best guess is that he's the electric gym leader based on the symbol's yellow hue and his love of machines, which of course are powered by electricity. As for Grant, he's more of a sportsman enjoying activities such as cycling and rock climbing. And just like Clement, his presumed gym badge appears behind him in one screenshot. Taken all together, we're almost positive that he'll be the rock gym leader, though there is a slight possibility that it's a ground type gym instead. Okay, that's enough about the characters. What about the new Pokemon? Well, we have plenty to cover, and first up is Inkay, who has the interesting typing of Dark/Psychic. It also has a brand new move called Topsy-Turvy that it demonstrates. On top of that, we get to see its evolution, Malamar, which is also a Dark/Psychic type. Next up is Honedge, who is a Ghost/Steel type, though he's not seen in the trailer itself. But then there's Pangoro, the evolution of Pancham, who is a Fighting/Dark type. And more interesting is that Nintendo has said there will be brand new ways to evolve Pokemon, and lists Pancham and Pangoro as an example. So what could this new method be? There's really no way to know, except that it could presumably involve one of the new features. Maybe Pokemon and me? Finally, there's Swirlix and Spritzee, both of whom are fairy types. And Swirlix even shows off a brand new fairy move, Draining Kiss. But more interesting is that Nintendo is starting to reveal which Pokemon will be exclusive to which version. In this case, Swirlix will be exclusive to X, while Spritzee can only be found in Y. And they're not the only ones. The previously announced Clauncher can only be found in X, while Squirrelp is exclusive to Y. And then there's our legendary Pokemon, Xerneas and Yveltal, who are obviously exclusive to X and Y respectively. And both have now had their types revealed as well as their abilities and a single move. It turns out Xerneas is a fairy-type Pokemon as well, and is known as the Life Pokemon, as we mentioned before. It uses a fairy move in the trailer called Geomancy, and its ability is Fairy Aura, though we have no idea what the effects will be. Yveltal, on the other hand, is a Dark/Flying type known as the Destruction Pokemon. It's equipped with the new Dark move, Oblivion Wing, and its ability is the equally mysterious Dark Aura. But for as cool as all this new Pokemon information is, none of it comes close to the sheer possibilities revealed about the new Player Search System, or PSS. On Pokemon.com, we finally got a look at the main menu for the PSS, which includes the following options over 2 screens: Battle, Trade, Battle Spot, Wonder Trade, Shoutout, Holocaster, GTS, GameSync, O-Power, Favorites List, Profile, and PSS settings. So let's break it down. The Battle option will simply allow you to battle another player, either locally or over the internet, which means Pokemon Centers are no longer required. The Trade option works exactly the same, giving you the option to trade Pokemon locally or online. More interesting is the Battle Spot option. It works as a kind of random matchup where you can battle anyone from around the world in either free or ranked battles. Free battles work the same as any other online match, but winning ranked battles can earn players points, which will then be displayed in their in-game profile. It should also be noted that if you disconnect from a battle, whether on purpose or accidentally, it will be counted as a loss. Moving on, the Wonder Trade option is quite curious because while it works similar to the Battle Spot, it does so with trades. You simply offer up a Pokemon you want to trade and receive a random one in return from another player. You won't even know which Pokemon you're getting until the trade begins. We're honestly not sure how many players will use this option, though it's certainly a unique concept. Maybe there'll be some kind of bonus for using this trading method over the other ones available. Next up, Shoutout will allow players to send messages to everyone on their friends list, as well as those in the local area. Interestingly, players will be allowed to create their own messages with a touchscreen keyboard rather than canned phrases, as was the case in past games. Following that, the Holocaster will actually provide players Pokemon-related news directly from the Pokemon Global link. The information such as upcoming competitions can be conveyed either through Street Pass or the internet. And the player's Street Pass, you'll actually be able to look at their progress. The Holocaster will also work like the X-Transceiver from Black and White 2, allowing you to call NPCs you met along the way during the main game. The Global Trade Station returns as well, except with one major addition. Trainers will now be able to search for any Pokemon they want to trade for, not just the ones they spotted during gameplay. You'll be able to look for whatever Pokemon you want, whenever you want. Then there are the O-Powers, which allow players to offer and receive temporary boosts to their game. These can come in the form of stat boost, making wild Pokemon easier to catch, or even increasing how much money and experience you get from battle. So these O-Powers can be shared with anyone in the area, or a specific friend. Finally, the Favorites List, Profile, and PSS settings are all pretty self-explanatory. Favorites will allow you to manage your favorite friends, Profile will allow you to customize and keep track of yourself, and PSS settings will allow you to make changes to privacy and how much it actually does. Taken all together, the PSS represents a level of connectivity that's never been seen before in the Pokemon game. Okay, we're almost done here, but there's still a few final things worth mentioning in this new batch of information. For one, you'll be able to take pictures of your trainer in-game and share them with your friends. And impressively, the camera will allow you to adjust the aperture, shutter speed, brightness, and other real-world camera effects to get better photos. And if all of these options are available just for your trainer, then we would be shocked if this doesn't also apply to your Pokemon too. Maybe there will even be special perks to see your Pokemon at play and get just the right shot. It even further teases the possibility of there being a Pokemon Snap styled minigame. Finally, there's a Pokemon Global link, which will be completely redesigned for X and Y. Starting October 1st, the website will be shut down for maintenance and will be reopened on the 12th, just in time for the official release. If players decide to sync their game with the Pokemon Global link, records of their adventure will be kept on a personal timeline. They can then adjust their privacy settings to show as much or as little as they want, even showing it off through social network sites. And if players do decide to make that information public, you'll be able to check out what they've seen and done from around the world, potentially even helping you find things you missed in your own game. And with that, we're done analyzing all the new information for Pokemon X and Y. And like always, let us know if we missed anything by posting in the comments. If you liked our analysis, please make sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain. There are even super easy to click links in the description below. Thanks for watching, and make sure to keep an eye on GameXplain.com for more on Pokemon X and Pokemon Y and other things gaming too.